Bene Sancti Spiritus, repli tuorum corda fidelium et tui amoris in eis ignem accendi, qui per diversitatem linguarum cunctarum, gentes in unitate fidei congregasti. Come, Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of your faithful, and kindle in them the fire of your love. For you are the one who, in spite of differences in language, gather the nations into a unity of faith. Amen.
Fair Chakil Lahadio, Dochai Manahad, Olchai Obadayan. Men and women, loons and quines, good morning to Aberdeen. A guid and awfully bidding to Aberdeen varsity graduation. Friends, in the three languages of the north and northeast of Scotland, may I bid you an enormous welcome to this graduation ceremony this morning. Please be seated. Professor Hutchison.
Vice-Chancellor, colleagues, honoured guests, and of course, graduands. Welcome to this celebration of learning. Well, here you are at last, after all the worry and the effort and the late nights and the stress, the highs, the lows, and the extra job to pay the bills. And that's just how your family and friends feel. Those of you graduating have had these challenges too, but you've also had a lot of reading and listening and thinking and writing. So you may have been a long way from home over the past few years, but in many ways you have all gone through this together. So before I go any further, can I ask those of you on that side of the hall to take a moment to acknowledge and say thank you for the love and the help that you've had from everyone sitting on this side of the hall. Graduation Day is a special day. It's a day to clap and to cheer, a day to take photographs. Please do take photographs. It's a day to dress up and a day to eat well. It's a day to look back and to see how far you have come and to consider what you've learned and to be proud of what you've achieved. It probably feels like you have come to the end of something, but today is also a beginning. When David Marquet graduated, he was also proud of what he had learned, although his training course had been a little different from any of yours. After years of service in the US Navy, David Marquet spent a year at Command Leadership School in Newport, Rhode Island, training to take command of the USS Olympia, $2 billion worth of nuclear submarine. By the end of that year, he knew every switch, every wire, every rivet of that submarine. He had read the technical reports and he knew the service records of his sailors. He was quite the expert. However, 3 weeks before he was due to take up his command, Marquet was informed that he had been transferred to a different submarine, the USS Santa Fe. This was a completely different class of submarine with different switches, different wires, and different sailors. Marquet knew nothing about the Santa Fe except that it was the lowest performing submarine in the fleet. A poor safety record, poor morale, poor promotion rates. Almost as soon as he arrived on board, Captain Marquet realised that nothing he had learned at command school was going to help him much. He gave the order ahead 2/3, only to have a junior sailor inform him that this kind of submarine did not have a 2/3 setting. Marquet saw quickly that it just wasn't safe for one man to be in command of this deadly piece of machinery that he didn't know how to run. So far from commanding his crew, he would have to learn from them. In his book, Turn the Ship Around, Marquet recounts how he listened, he watched, he asked for advice, he let others take decisions. He ignored military rules and the cliches of strong and stable leadership, and he encouraged everyone else on board his ship to do the same. The results were extraordinary. Within 2 years, the Santa Fe was the highest performing submarine in the US Navy. Marquet once asked his crew to sum up what was different about serving on his ship. They came back with an answer of just 2 words: we learn. While sailors on other ships followed instructions, Marquet allowed his sailors to work things out for themselves, to collaborate, and to become the best that they could be. There's a lesson here about leading. There's also one about learning, and really they are not so very different. Learning is not just about information. It is about aiming for excellence, whatever you are doing and wherever you are doing it. It's about working out where you went wrong last time and how to set it right. Learning is empowering and transformative, and it does not stop when you walk across this stage, get tapped on the head, collect a brown envelope, and walk down the stairs to cheers and applause. You have all learned a lot of different things during your degrees, but the most important thing you have all learned is how to learn. In the years ahead, you will come across plenty of challenges, whether personal or professional, that seem to have nothing to do with what you have studied here at university. Like David Marquet, you will often find yourselves on the wrong kind of submarine. But if you are willing to keep on learning, you will always find a way forward, and your hope and your confidence will inspire those around you. So today, let's celebrate learning, the centuries of learning that this university represents, the learning you have done, and the learning that lies ahead. And in particular, let's celebrate these learners. So ladies and gentlemen, I give you the graduands of 2017.
Professor Miller.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour of presenting for the degree of Master of the University Honoris Causa, Margaret Carlaw. The contribution given to the artistic and cultural life of the University of Aberdeen and the city by Margaret Carlaw is considerable. Margaret has enabled and encouraged, with dedication and determination, many of the cultural and artistic endeavours of the university over many years. Quite simply, many of these events and initiatives would and could not happen without her. She has become a focal point for ideas with a let's get this done attitude that is both welcomed and admired by many. Margaret takes a keen interest in all concerts and events at the university and is always happy to help in many ways. She is adored by the students for her warmth and care given to them in their studies, and because of this was made patron of both the University of Aberdeen Gilbert and Sullivan Society and the University of Aberdeen Opera Society. She attends rehearsals, offering encouragement and support, and is keen to help the students and the societies grow as musicians and as people who care about and contribute to our society. Margaret is patron of Scottish Opera, Scottish Ballet, and the Scottish Chamber Orchestra, and has enabled many of our students to gain invaluable educational and practical experience working with these internationally recognised organisations, some of which are now employed by these organisations, thereby spreading the Aberdeen word nationally and internationally. Over the last 15 years, Margaret has become a philanthropist and a major benefactor to the University of Aberdeen's cultural life. In recognition of this work, she was given the prestigious Benefactor of the University Award in 2016. In the creation of over 20 undergraduate and postgraduate scholarships in music, Margaret has made it possible for many talented and many disadvantaged students to undertake their study in their passion, music. She has contributed significantly to the instrumental scheme. She has given considerable financial assistance to postgraduate students to undertake further research and attend performances of their music and give their presentations of their work at conferences throughout the world, and has assisted the Students' Association with considerable donations to student societies, most notably the Opera Society and the Gilbert and Sullivan Society, to the Sound Festival, the Conanima Choir, and the university's chapel and chamber choirs. She helped enable the purchase of an entire percussion department, including a full-sized marimba and timpani set. This has benefited many musical societies in the university and many percussion students, some of whom have gone on to professional careers. Margaret trained and worked initially as a primary school teacher for many years in Aberdeen City and Shire, until being promoted to advisor for primary education in the region. On retiring from education, Margaret took over the running of the family farm and now divides her time between her homes in the city and her farm in Stitchell. During this time, along with her cousin, Professor Derek Ogston, she has written a number of books on the history, wildlife, and culture of Stitchell, works which have considerable anthropological significance. And she has written on the history of the University of Aberdeen, most notably King's College Chapel, History, Buildings and Artistic Portrayal in 2009, all of the funds from which were donated to the university. Why did Prometheus steal fire from the gods on Mount Olympus only to give it away? I think it is because there is something inherently selfless and giving in a teacher's soul. It is this selflessness and sense of giving that, in Margaret Carlaw, is loved by many. She has given a lifelong commitment to education, arts, culture, philanthropy, and the University of Aberdeen. It is because of these facts, Vice-Chancellor, that I have the great honour and indeed privilege to present to you for the award of the degree of Master of the University, honoris causa, Margaret Carlaw.
Universitatis magistrum constituo creo proclamo renuntio et insignum capituum hoc pilio orno cordat Felix Faustumque sit Deum optimum maximum crecor. Congratulations. Down the aisle towards me is William Gray. William is a pianist who attended Aberdeen City Music School and has just completed his second year reading for the degree of Bachelor of Music. And this morning he's going to perform for us Fanfare Periat Tristitia by Thomas Lavoy, our own Thomas Lavoy, who's sitting here in the front row. So we're looking forward to it hugely. William. Professor Lumsden, promoter of graduands.
Domini Chancellari, Domini Doctoris in Magistri, et tota Universitas, presenta vobis his candidatus examini probatus agradium doctoratus in philosophia promovendus.
Anuentis natu placet promovere.
Ascendant Kerry Karam.
Ego auctoritati quam summi et potentissimi principes salmae huic universitatae amplissimum Mindelserunt, te in philosophia doctorum et magistrum creo, in quies rei testimonium caput tuum hoc pilio orno quod et felix fastumque sit, Deum optimum maximum precor.
Julia Kotsur. Gemma McGregor.
Etse Creo, congratulations.
Item presento vobis candidatum examini probatum ad gradium magistratus in litteris promovendum.
Inuente senatu placet promovere.
Ascendant Anjali Papaya.
Ego auctoritati quam summi et potentissimi principes salmo huic universitatae amplissimum Mindelserunt, te in litteris magistrum creo, in quies rei testimonium caput tuum hoc pilio orno quod et felix fastumque sit, Deum optimum maximum precor.
Item presento vobis his candidatus examini probatus ad gradium magistratus in artibus liberalibus promovendus.
Inuente senatu placet promovere.
Ascendant Charlie Banks.
Ego auctoritate quam summi et potentissimi principes salmae huic universitatae amplissimum Mindelserunt, te in artibus liberalibus magistrum creo, in quies rei testimonium caput tuum hoc pilio orno quod et felix fastumque sit, Deum optimum maximum precor. Congratulations.
Sarah Banks.
Etse Creo.
Jean Barley.
Etse Creo.
Catherine Berry.
Etse Creo.
Pamela Chavdarova.
Etse Creo.
Rebecca Clark.
Etse Creo.
Amanda Connolly.
Etse Creo.
Thomas Cordiner.
Etse Creo.
William Creed.
Etse Creo.
Jack Davidson.
Etse Creo.
Anne-Marie Dunbar.
Etse Creo.
Lindsay Duncan.
Etse Creo.
Jamie Ellis.
Etse Creo.
Marlene Samoas.
Etse Creo.
Catherine Glazier.
Etse Creo.
Adam Gregg.
Etse Crew.
Gavin McNaughton.
Etse Crew.
James Middleton.
Etse Crew.
Sandra Nuruddin.
Etse Crew.
Charlotte Ramshaw.
Etse Crew.
Jutta Repo.
Etse Crew.
Kim Shinshin.
Etse Crew.
Olivia Seligman.
Etse Crew.
Catherine Smith.
Etse Crew.
Rachel Sword.
Etse Crew.
Mary Whitehead.
Etse Crew.
Chantal Aitken.
Etse Crew.
Rosie Anderson.
Etse Crew.
Sophie Fraser.
Etse Crew.
David Krenyak.
Etse Crew.
Emma Malcolmson.
Etse Crew.
Benjamin Tobin.
Etse Crew.
Scott Barkley.
Etse Crew.
Thomas Cole.
Etse Crew.
Victoria Connor.
Etse Crew.
Molly Drummond.
Etse Crew.
Laura Sanderson.
Etse Crew.
Goda Bajetti.
Etse Crew.
Stephanie Benzies.
Etse Crew.
Cami Colin Brio.
Etse Crew.
Laura McHale.
Etse Crew.
Natalie Kaidas.
Etse Crew.
Melissa Smith.
Etse Crew.
Eloise Barber.
Etse Crew.
Rasa Martin-Yataiti.
Etse Crew.
Graham Stephen.
Etse Crew.
Ellie Thompson.
Etse Crew.
Christina Adrian. Catherine McRae. Ariane Vera Fluxa. Patrick Barbier. Jessica Holmes. Lisa Nath. Cameron Shaw. Grace Balfour Harold. Owen Talfrin. Breeze George. Hamish Gibson. Amelia Ross. Gemma Shields. Samia Fergag. Catherine Heggie. Shuma Mohapatra. Agata Nauroka. Anka Staneska Vlasi. Katie Miller. Stefan Pascanu. Julia Ray. Melanie Sutherland. Ilaria Cassini. Kirsty Hill. Daria Yanka.
And now, walking down the aisle towards me is Liam Dyker. Liam has just completed his first year reading for the degree of Bachelor of Music and sings right across the city in just about every choir that there is. He's particularly, though, a member of our chamber choir and has been singing recently with the King's College Choir. And earlier this year, he was awarded the Margaret Carlaw Music Scholarship. So it's a fitting that today he's going to sing for us Westering Home.
Westering home and the song in the air, light in the it's westering home and a song in the air, light in the eye and it's goodbye to care, laughter or love and no welcoming there, oh oil of my heart, my own one. Where are the folk like the folk of the west, canty and couthy and kindly the best, there I would hie me and there I will rest, at hey wi' my ain folk in Isla, and it's westering home and a song in the air, light in the eye and it's goodbye to care, laughter or love and no welcoming there, oh oil of my heart, my own one, and it's westering home and a song in the air, light in the eye and it's goodbye to care, laughter or love and no welcoming there, oh oil of my heart, my own one.
Professor Lumsden, promoter of graduands.
Item presentio vobis hos candidatus examine probatus ad gradum magistratus in artibus liberalibus promovendus.
Inuenti senati placet promoveri.
Ascendant Eleonore Pacelli.
Ego e auctoritate consumi et potentissimi princim pes al hic universitatea amplissimum indulsedent, te in artibus liberalibus magistrum creo, in quies rei testimonium caput tuum hoc pilio orno quodet Felix fastum quae sit, deum optimum maximum precor.
Marta Oyala.
Et se creo.
Elisa Carreo Ball.
Et se creo.
Melissa Smart.
Et se creo.
Sarah Bonthrone.
Et se creo.
William Carruthers.
Et se creo.
Hayley Webb.
Et se creo.
Lee Chapman.
Et se creo.
Charlotte Fraser.
Et se creo.
Emily Gallagher.
Et se creo.
Emily Sayers.
Et se creo.
Jasmine Soraya.
Et se creo.
Carlos Gonzalez Fernandez.
Et se creo.
Caitlin Hollop.
Et se creo.
Brona Hughes.
Et se creo.
Grace Norman.
Et se creo.
Lydia Macken.
Et se creo.
Carolina Kubernatova.
Et se creo.
Mia Tate.
Et se creo.
Carol Toe.
Et se creo.
Lorna Davies.
I'd say Korea.
Scott Bragg.
I'd say Korea.
Sarah Doherty.
I'd say Korea.
Morven Douglas.
I'd say Korea.
Rebecca Wigham.
I'd say Korea.
Boris Venkov.
I'd say Korea.
Veronica Vishiananova.
I'd say Korea.
Philippa Robson.
I'd say Korea.
Lana Camilli.
I'd say Korea.
Elizabeth Glenn.
I'd say Korea.
Auxa Conservachuti.
I'd say Korea.
Cameron Clark.
I'd say Korea.
Emily Farbank.
I'd say Korea.
Aino Lukari.
I'd say Korea.
Yana Musalova.
I'd say Korea.
Arna Kurakowska.
I'd say Korea.
Holly Dakin.
I'd say Korea.
Sally Ann Lamond.
I'd say Korea.
Krista Mako.
I'd say Korea.
Kirsten Marshall.
I'd say Korea.
Shona Pardo.
I'd say Korea.
Rachel Redfern.
I'd say Korea.
Samara Siriahova.
I'd say Korea.
Item presento vobis candidatus examine probatus ad gradium baccalaureatas in musica promovendus.
In eventis in arti placet promovere.
Ascendat Hayley Mitchell.
Ego auctoritate quam sumi et potentissimi principes amai huic universitatea amplissimum indulsedent, te in musica baccalaureum creo, in quies rei testimonium caput tuum hoc pilio orno quod Felix fastumque sit, deum optimum maximum precor. Congratulations.
Qui honoris meriunt. Ascendant Rebecca Armflet.
I'd say Korea.
Greta Andresiusketi.
I'd say Korea.
Matthew Barnes.
I'd say Korea.
Valerie Chapman.
I'd say Korea.
Leonie Clark.
I'd say Korea.
Matthew Clark.
I'd say Korea.
Jennifer Cleland.
I'd Korea.
Miranda Evans.
I'd Korea.
Hannah Fleming.
I'd Korea.
Emma Hall.
I'd Korea.
Matthew Harrison.
I'd Korea.
Kenneth Leipka.
I'd Korea.
Anna McClure.
I'd Korea.
Anya McRae.
I'd Korea.
Tara McRae.
I'd Korea.
Dawn Martin.
I'd Korea.
Thomas Meehee.
I'd Korea.
Kirsty Morgan.
I'd Korea.
Ryan Riley.
I'd Korea.
Jennifer Taylor.
I'd Korea.
Gareth Black.
I'd Korea.
Ashley Grant.
I'd Korea.
Evelina Zibek.
I'd Korea.
Scott Kemp.
I'd Korea.
Shannon McGlynn.
I'd Korea.
Amy McNeil.
I'd Korea.
Hannah Orr.
I'd Korea.
Nadine Allen.
I'd Korea.
Laura Kemp.
I'd Korea.
Megan McIntosh.
I'd Korea.
Rebecca McLean.
I'd Korea.
Sorcha Pringle.
I'd Korea.
Gavin Smith.
I'd Korea. Dr. Pugh.
Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, Vice-Chancellor, I want to make a shameful admission. When I finished my first degree, eons ago, I didn't go to my graduation ceremony. It wasn't fashionable in my peer group. All that pomp and ceremony put us off. It's all so medieval, we told each other. It seemed to symbolise everything that was backward-looking and authoritarian about our university, which wasn't this one. Especially the bit about speaking Latin, a dead language. Were they nostalgic for the values of a pre-democratic era? Or did they want to make people who hadn't been to public school feel excluded? It seems a bit silly looking back now. We'd thoroughly enjoyed our time at that university, truth to tell. And in fact, it had helped to furnish us with the ability to take such a critical view and the confidence to act on it. On the other hand, that university was medieval as it gets in Britain. And there may have been a grain of truth in the other charges too, at least back then. Remember, I'm quite old. It was a rather archaic place. We'd heard rumours that students of aristocratic descent had the right to send for a flagon of ale during their final exams, if they were properly accoutred with a sword. Now that the university's statutes are online, I have searched in vain for this rule and concluded it's an urban myth. But in those pre-internet days, it would have been a great chore to establish the truth, so we countenanced the rumour instead. The internet's not only a purveyor of fake news, you see. Nevertheless, it's quite telling that this rumour seemed plausible to us. And it's certainly true that we all had to put on this sort of regalia quite often. I remember how hard it was to write exam essays without knocking my mortarboard off my desk. And it's even worse if you try to keep it on. I'm glad that you've been more sensible and decided to show up. Your achievement deserves pomp and ceremony. And anyway, this place is different. In fact, though Aberdeen calls itself a medieval university, I would say that it counts as a Renaissance one, which is a better kettle of fish altogether. And the most old-fashioned bit of this ceremony, the spoken Latin, the Latin spoken so beautifully, if considered in a Renaissance context, could be said to symbolise the best of what we're celebrating today. When Aberdeen opened its doors at the beginning of the 16th century, its first principal was Hector Boece, a Scottish scholar called over from Paris, where he'd enjoyed his own student days with his friend Erasmus. Boece became a famous historian. He wrote the history of Scotland, which Shakespeare later drew on for Macbeth. But he's best known for his friendship with Erasmus, and thus for his membership in an amicable network of humanist scholars across Europe who looked to Erasmus as an exemplary figure. These scholar friends kept in touch through copious letter writing, and because they all had different native tongues, they wrote in the language that they all shared, because it was the first thing anyone anywhere learnt at school in those days, Latin. And thanks both to Latin and to that great new invention, the printing press, sort of the internet of the Renaissance, educated people everywhere could follow their debates. Latin transcended the boundaries of nation-states, bringing together what political geography divided. These scholar friends were also bound by shared values, which they regarded as embodied by Erasmus himself, as an autonomous intellectual who used his learning and skills to improve society for the good of humanity as a whole. 16th century Europe was an assemblage of absolute monarchies, marked by constant wars, gross inequality, no political representation for the vast majority of people, and the widespread use of censorship, torture, and execution. The normal way for a scholar to earn a living was to ingratiate himself with a wealthy and powerful patron. In return for money to live on, the scholar would enhance the patron's reputation, praising him in print as a paragon of virtue and benefactor of mankind, and of course, never write anything that might upset him. Writers find ways around such constraints, though. Many of you will have studied poets who evaded censorship by criticising the powerful obliquely, using irony or fable. Erasmus did this too. His mock panegyric praise of folly is an excoriating satire on contemporary abuses and corruption, presented as the kind of effusive praise conventionally lavished on princes and patrons. The speaker is a personification of folly, praising herself by listing the ways that humans are indebted to her. For instance, if kings had even a grain of sense, they would know their duty is to rule for the good of their subjects and not themselves. And they'd either lead a weary life bearing that burden, or, since most of them are not up to the task, they'd live in terror, both of going to hell and, more immediately, of meeting some satirist who might expose their vices to public mockery and derision. But thanks to folly, they're oblivious to all this, and so have a grand time oppressing their subjects to enrich themselves and indulging their appetites without a care in the world. But Erasmus can't be punished for writing all of this inflammatory stuff. If anything I've said seems imprudent or garrulous, he points out, you must remember it's folly who's been speaking. And what would you expect from a personification of folly? Erasmus was a witty and a slippery fellow. Picture John Oliver, if you will, in a doublet and hose, armed with a quill pen and a formidable knowledge of ancient languages. In his cause for reform in church and state, Erasmus resisted the pressures of the patronage system so determinedly that he was seen as the embodiment of intellectual autonomy, not serving the interests of any patron or particular nation-state, but writing for the good of all humanity. His ideas about education, in particular, were ahead of their time. Teachers who beat their pupils, he wrote, merely instill a lifelong hatred of learning. Rather, you should make study alluring with games and a friendly manner. So you see, you've directly benefited from this teaching in your tutorials at this university. I don't think any of you have been beaten. I don't do that anyway. Erasmus thought that the state has a duty to provide free universal education for girls as well as boys, the poor as well as the rich. He believed passionately in the power of education to bring about social change. Studying languages and literature, he thought, is the best way to develop intellectual judgment, to learn about human culture, to imagine better ways of being, and to acquire the persuasive skills necessary to make them reality. Erasmus's friends and admirers saw themselves as belonging to an international republic of letters, an alternative society in virtual space, if you like, whose citizens belonged by virtue of study rather than accident of birth, and were bound together by shared ideals transcending national divisions. Receiving your degrees today, you are the newest citizens of the Republic of Letters. In your time here, you've developed your understanding of human culture, the critical skills to test the truth of what others would have you believe, the ability to argue and persuade others, and the intellectual confidence to stand up for what you consider true. Erasmus wrote that if students are taught well, they will emerge from their studies as godlike creatures. Since there can be no doubt that my colleagues here are good teachers, this obviously applies to all of you. I hope you will use your godlike powers for the betterment of society, as Erasmus strove to do. The need seems pressing right now. Brexit is threatening to sever ties between UK universities and the European scholarly community, hampering research collaboration, forcing academics from other European countries who work here, perhaps some who have taught you, to leave. Many of you will be familiar with the name of Erasmus because you've benefited from the European Union's scheme enabling students to spend time studying in other European countries, a scheme named after him in recognition of his internationalism and his educational ideals. You may be among the last UK students able to participate in it. At home, public spending on education is being eroded by the UK's austerity programme and by a growing view of education as a private commodity rather than a public good. Like some others, this university is turning to a very different kind of internationalisation, to make up for such cuts in funding, expanding its operations to countries further afield. A University of Aberdeen campus is opening in Qatar this year, offering degrees in business studies. In a way, Qatar seems a fitting place for a Renaissance university. Many things about this wealthy Gulf state are reminiscent of 16th century Europe. It's an absolute monarchy with no democratic elections. There are harsh censorship laws. Poets have been jailed for criticising the emir, foreign journalists arrested while investigating the use of forced labour to build stadiums for the FIFA World Cup. There's a vast impoverished underclass of migrant labourers with no political rights, making up more than 90% of the population, and homosexuality is punishable by death. In recent years, the Qatari royal family has invested vast sums in culture, education and the arts in an effort to improve a reputation tarnished by the reports of NGOs like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch. The University of Aberdeen will benefit from this patronage, and in return, like so many scholars in the 16th century, it will lend its name to enhance the reputation of its benefactor. Altogether, the sort of project to elicit praise from Erasmus, that well-known panegyrist, probably delivered through his most famous persona. This is the world you're entering, and I hope that you'll help to adjust its priorities. Some of you, experts in European languages, will help preserve the lines of communication and intercultural understanding which are currently threatened by Brexit. All of you, I'm sure, will raise the level of public debate wherever you engage in it. And unlike Erasmus's contemporaries, you share the more concrete powers that come with democracy, a democracy which is growing in vigour in our country. Young people in the UK have registered to vote in huge numbers in the last few years. According to BBC analyses, they voted overwhelmingly for Scottish independence in 2014, against Brexit last year, and for a Labour government this year. How different the country would be today if life expectancy hadn't also improved considerably since the 16th century. This might seem a little dispiriting if you're among those young voters, but take heart and please keep on voting. I promise we are dying off gradually, and you will inherit the earth. Godlike creatures as you are, I trust you to make it a better place. I hope that you thoroughly enjoy yourselves in the process, and also that you'll keep in touch and let us know how it's going. Let's finish, if you're not already hoarse, with a final, very large cheer, not only for all that you've achieved, but also for what you will achieve in the bright future that lies ahead for all of you. Hip, hip, hooray!
And now, friends, will you stand and join me in singing God Save the Queen? Reverend the Chaplain to the University.
May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warmly upon your face. May the rains fall softly upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Amen.